Who was the last person to speak to Osama bin Laden? For years, this was one of the biggest mysteries surrounding the world's most wanted man. Was it a family member? A trusted aide? The answer is far more surprising, and it was revealed by the man himself, Ibrahim al-Kosi. Al-Kosi wasn't a high-ranking commander. He was bin Laden's cook, his bodyguard, and his driver. For more than a decade, he was closer to the Al-Qaeda leader than almost anyone else. After his capture, he was sent to Guantanamo Bay, where he spent years in silence. But eventually, he started to talk. And the stories he told painted a picture of bin Laden that the world had never seen before. So what did he confess? His interrogations, which were later declassified, are like reading a secret history. Al-Kosi revealed details about bin Laden's day-to-day life, his mindset, and the inner workings of his organization. Imagine being a fly on the wall, listening to the private conversations of the man who orchestrated the September 11th attacks. That's essentially what Al-Kosi gave us. Let's go back to the beginning. Ibrahim al-Kosi was born in Sudan. In the early 90s, he went to Afghanistan, driven by a desire to fight. It was there, in the rugged mountains, that he first met Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden was already a charismatic figure, attracting fighters from all over the world. Al-Kosi was drawn in, not just by the ideology but by bin Laden's personal magnetism. He quickly earned his trust, and bin Laden assigned him a critical role. He became his cook. This might sound like a simple job, but in bin Laden's world, trust was everything. The person who prepared your food had the power to poison you. By making Al-Kosi his cook, bin Laden was saying, "I trust you with my life." Al-Kosi took this responsibility seriously. He also acted as a bodyguard and chauffeur, becoming a constant presence in bin Laden's inner circle. He was there during the pivotal moments when Al-Qaeda was solidifying its plans. He saw who came and went. He heard the whispers and the arguments. One of the most fascinating parts of Al-Kosi's confession is his description of bin Laden before the 9/11 attacks. He painted a portrait of a leader who was meticulous, patient, and absolutely certain of his mission. According to Al-Kosi, bin Laden managed his organization like a CEO. He was involved in everything, from major strategic decisions to minor logistical details. He wasn't a distant figure issuing orders from a cave. He was hands-on, deeply engaged with his followers. Al-Kosi described how bin Laden would spend hours in meetings, listening more than he spoke, carefully weighing the opinions of his advisors. But when he made a decision, it was final. There was no room for debate. This leadership style was key to how he maintained control and loyalty within such a disparate group of individuals. Then came September 11th, 2001, the day that changed the world forever. Where was bin Laden? What was his reaction? Al-Kosi was with him. He told his interrogators that on the morning of the attacks, they were gathered around a shortwave radio in Afghanistan. As the news came in, one plane, then a second, hitting the World Trade Center, the mood in the room was not celebration. Al-Kosi described it as somber and focused. He said bin Laden was calm, almost serene. He told his followers, "This is the fruit of your labor." For him, it was a moment of profound victory, the culmination of years of planning. He believed he had struck a blow that would cripple America and inspire a global uprising. But Al-Kosi also revealed a crucial detail. Bin Laden was surprised by the scale of the destruction, particularly the complete collapse of the towers. He had expected significant damage, but not that. This small detail shows that even the mastermind behind the attack couldn't fully predict its outcome. In the chaotic aftermath of 9/11, the world's focus shifted to one place, the mountains of Tora Bora in Afghanistan. This is where bin Laden and his core followers made their last stand against the American invasion. And Ibrahim al-Kosi was right there, by his side. His account of this period is like a scene from a war movie. He described constant bombing, the ground shaking day and night. They moved from cave to cave, trying to evade detection. Food and water were scarce. Morale was low. According to Al-Kosi, this is where bin Laden's leadership was truly tested. He saw a different side of the man he had followed for years. He saw a leader who was under immense pressure. trying to hold his group together as the world closed in on them. Al-Kosi described one of their final conversations. It wasn't a dramatic, cinematic moment. It was quiet, practical. Bin Laden gathered his remaining followers. He knew they were trapped. He gave them his blessing to surrender or to try and escape. He told them, "Save yourselves." He gave Al-Kosi about $500 and a final instruction, to escape to Pakistan. That was the last time Ibrahim Al-Kosi ever saw or spoke to Osama bin Laden. Al-Kosi was captured in December 2001 near the Pakistani border. He was one of the first detainees sent to the newly opened detention camp at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. He became detainee 54. For years, he refused to cooperate. He was what interrogators called a hard case, fiercely loyal to the man he had served. But time changes things. After nearly a decade in captivity, facing the prospect of spending the rest of his life in a cell, he began to talk. In 2010, he agreed to a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to charges of conspiracy and providing material support for terrorism. In exchange for his cooperation and his testimony, he was given a reduced sentence. His confessions provided an unprecedented look inside Al-Qaeda. He identified key figures, explained relationships, and mapped out the network's command structure. He gave context to events that intelligence agencies had only seen from the outside. For historians and analysts, his testimony was a goldmine. It helped fill in the gaps in our understanding of how this organization operated. But what does his story tell us about bin Laden himself? It demystifies him. Al-Kosi's confession strips away the propaganda and the larger-than-life myth. It shows us a man who, despite his horrific acts, was still a man. He had routines. He had relationships. He relied on people like his cook. This doesn't excuse his crimes, not at all. But it makes him understandable in a way that is, frankly, unsettling. It reminds us that monumental acts of evil are not always committed by monsters from another world, but by human beings. In 2012, Ibrahim Al-Kosi was released from Guantanamo and sent back to his home country of Sudan. But the story doesn't end there. In a shocking twist, just a few years later, he resurfaced in Yemen. He had rejoined the fight, this time as a senior leader in Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, or AQUP. The cook had become a commander. He appeared in their propaganda videos, calling for new attacks. This raises a difficult question. Was his confession genuine? Was his cooperation just a strategy to get out of prison? Or did he truly have a change of heart, only to be drawn back into his old life? We may never know for sure. Some experts believe he was playing a long game all along. Others think the years in Guantanamo changed him, but the pull of his former ideology was too strong to resist. His journey from bin Laden's kitchen to a Guantanamo cell and back to the battlefield is a complex and disturbing story. It highlights the incredible difficulty of de-radicalization. Can someone who was so close to the heart of a violent extremist group ever truly leave that world behind? The story of Ibrahim Al-Kosi, the last man to speak to bin Laden in Tora Bora, is more than just a historical footnote. It's a window into the personal human side of a global conflict. It shows us the loyalty and conviction that drove people to follow bin Laden, and the complex, often contradictory nature of the human spirit. The confessions he made are a vital piece of history, but his ultimate return to the fight is a sobering reminder that the echoes of that era are still with us today. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the hidden stories that shape our world. See you next time. See you next.